England's offense, but when you coach or supposedly coach, as Stephen A. says, like Josh McDaniels, you got to close that gap.
You got to close that gap, and that's the bottom line. I'm looking at this right now. First 3 quarters, because we know fourth quarter was pretty much garbage time. First 3 quarters, you got 9 drives. 8 times they punted. Yep. There were 5 3-and-outs. There's been, between the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, there were 10 3-and-outs. You have a glaring deficiency on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah. We knew what New England was bringing to the table defensively, and they showed up. I think they deserve all the credit in the world because they battled, and it was one of the great. I was like, I said, oh damn, because when there was a play with Drake Maye when he turned the ball over. And the camera, you usually don't see this, but the camera was on the entire front 7 of the New England Patriots because they had gotten Seattle off the field. They were only down 12-0. And then everybody, just sort of everybody, they caught everybody dropping the head. Like, damn, because these guys know, damn, we here, we fighting, but you can't do anything about it. You're Josh McDaniels. Again, this is not about losing the Super Bowl. You lost to a superior team. Yeah. And you got, man to man, they were just better. But you got to be able to show an ability to alleviate something. And the New England Patriots did not do that.
The one thing they should be disappointed about this morning, if you're in New England locker room and coaching staff, is that they played it safe. They tried to play this game until the fourth quarter and hope that they could make a play late in the game or 1 or 2 like we've seen them do throughout the playoffs. Let it hang out. This is it. Everybody going home after this, no matter win or lose. And that's the one thing that I would be very disappointed with as a New England Patriots fan this morning is that my team tried to play a Super Bowl safe.
I got a question for all of y'all. When we look at Drake Maye, again, I'm looking at Josh McDaniels because Drake Maye going to do what the coach tells him to do, okay? So you playing it safe or whatever. But when do we mention a Stephon Diggs? When do we mention a Booty and recognize the fact that were they getting open? It didn't look like it. It didn't look like it. I'm asking.
If the protection, how bad the protection was, hadn't been so glaring, we would probably talk about these wide receivers a little bit more. Problem was, you just watched this offensive line. This offensive line got
could not get anything going. The Seattle entire team led for 57 minutes of this game.
We're not getting crushed this morning.
I mean, it was really a butt-kicking from start to finish. You mentioned Drake Maye. Let's go there now. It was Drake Maye's first Super Bowl performance, and maybe one that he wants to forget. He posted his 16 total QBR, his second worst in any game as a starter. Maye was also under pressure all night. He got sacked 6 times. He threw 2 interceptions. He lost a fumble under duress. Cam, how should we view Maye now after this Super Bowl performance? And I know they were getting after that entire offense, but now from a quarterback perspective.
Yeah, listen. And contrary to what people may believe about my relationship or how I feel about Drake Maye, I'm extremely proud of how he handled himself throughout the whole season. And I'll just say this. Drake Maye, message to you. I will allow myself, if I'm you, to feel every emotion of this game. Are you disappointed? You should be. But understand this. This game wasn't just on what you did. Understand this. That this season was not a failure. You made leaps, strides, and bounds to becoming an MVP candidate. But understand this the most. You do not start here next year. Next year is a new season. Next year is a new chapter. Next year is a new situation. But the goal is still the same, winning the Super Bowl. Allow yourself, once again, to feel every emotion, go through an off-season, get prepared, get healthy, and understand that with what we saw this year, it is only the beginning, not the end.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Drake Maye behaved after the game like you're supposed to. He cried. He talked about his coach and the relationship they want to have going forward. He talked about the way that the men in that locker room approach playing the game of football. It wasn't about fame. It wasn't about money. It was about winning. And here's what I want to say to him. I get it. What Cam said is right. You're not entitled to ever get back to this position. Not this team, not Drake Maye as a player. You don't know if you ever reach these heights. Yeah, you got to feel this loss, but you also got to go figure out why it happened. Yeah. You got to figure out how are we better. You have to know that you have a different schedule next year. You have to know that you have the bullseye on your back next year. There is no creeping up for Drake Maye. And there are going to be changes in that locker room. I view Drake Maye like you should view him. I view him as one of the brightest young stars in football. I view him as a young man that understands what this game is about. But he's never been in this position. You've never been in this position where you got your team to a championship and you were absolutely blown out.
Yeah.
You got your doors blown off. You got embarrassed. How Drake Maye and the New England Patriots rebound from this will tell the story of their legacy, because it's difficult to have this sort of loss on this stage.
Well, I'm just going to be a fan of the young fella the rest of his career. And it's based on how he responded to this game. For a second-year quarterback to take ownership and responsibility for the performance that his team displayed, and realize that the gravity of that moment was either he could be in his feelings and be sad about his personal performance. Drake Maye represented the New England Patriots in a great fashion after this game. He talked about his teammates. He talked about he'd go to war with these guys anytime, any day. And I think that's the maturation process. Look, usually most of the time, if you're in your second year as a quarterback and you get to the Super Bowl, you're ahead of schedule, right? When teams draft you, they expect that some point for you to reach that level, especially at the position that they took him, but not in year two. So a lot of credit is deserved by this young man, and based on how he played. Look, it was the Houston Texans defense. I thought they was going to lose that game. All right, when Houston defense showed up, he made enough plays for them to get out of that. He went to Denver on the road in inclement weather and was able to make a play at the end of the game with his legs to seal an opportunity for his team to go to a championship. There's a lot to be proud of. But to Cam and RC's point, all 32 teams play this season for one reason: to win the trophy at the end of the day. And the unfortunate part about when you lose the Super Bowl, in that game, you ended up like the rest of the 30 teams in the league.
Right. Fell in line.
Basically, nothing to show for it. So, again, you got to retool, you got to rebuild, and I know that Mike Vrabel and this organization won't get comfortable and rest on their laurels based on where they are now. Drake Maye just has to continue to get better, but he got a fan in me the way he responded to this game.
No doubt about it. Let's say this, too. There's a couple of things, and, I mean, he may not look at it that way, but for people that don't play football outside with some of the noise that you may hear, understand this, Drake Maye. Last year, arguably the greatest quarterback that we have ever seen got annihilated. The Philadelphia Eagles destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes threw for 257 yards and was sacked 6 times. And the game was over before the fourth quarter, and we all knew it, all right? So ain't no shame in that. That's number one. Number two, Tom Brady, the only quarterback that has won a Super Bowl for the New England Patriots. Remember, Bledsoe went with Parcells, and now Vrabel went with Drake Maye. But Tom Brady is the only quarterback that walked away for the New England Patriots with the Super Bowl championship. But he lost a couple of times. And those couple of losses was when he couldn't be protected. And he was getting slaughtered by a front four for the New York Giants that was just all over him. So there's no shame in that. But here's the thing that transcends, and it goes beyond football, and it just touches on all facets of life. And I'm not joking when I say this, even though it's kind of funny. Don't let it be you. And what I mean by that is this: when you're going through what you're going through in the off season, this pain is absorbed even more so, and you reflect on it. It wasn't just Drake Maye. It was everybody on offense, and it was Josh McDaniel, and it was Mike Vrabel, no doubt about it. But it just elevates and accentuates the importance of making sure it ain't you. Like, exhaust yourself making sure that you master your role, your craft. Because when you do that, chances are you're going to be in a position where, like, wait a minute now. I mean, you know, we got a couple of offensive linemen as rookies. I mean, damn, I need some more help. And when you're the New England Patriots, you have a history of losing in the big game when you don't protect your quarterback. Not to say that everybody wouldn't lose under those circumstances, because everybody would. But you know firsthand, because the GOAT lost 2 Super Bowls in your uniform because of that. So you got to remember stuff like that and hold on to it, and you'll get better from it.
So the Patriots are the first team in franchise history to start multiple rookie offensive linemen in a Super Bowl. Okay, so there's that aspect to it, but I'm curious what you think. Do you think the shoulder was maybe bothering Maye at all? We talked about how there was maybe some lack of designed runs. He wasn't using his feet as much as we're accustomed to him doing, especially in a game at this level. Was the shoulder maybe an issue?
Jay, I don't mean to be insensitive. That brother showed up. It was a Super Bowl. And he was there in uniform. Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Rehab.
I'm just telling you, ain't nobody trying to hear that.
Rehab at the next 5